Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is the latest in my underrated, overhyped series. Each week, I am joined by a special guest as we discuss 5 films each that we think are underrated or overhyped within a certain genre, or this case, medium, based on general critical consensus. Now, just remember, these are just our opinions, our own thoughts and lists, which are sure to be unpopular, right? Because we're going against the grain. But we look forward to reading your thoughts, opinions, and lists in the comment section down below. So this week, I am joined by my friend Movie Mation to discuss the most underrated and overhyped animated films of all time. So, Movie Mation, why don't you kick things off?
Hey everyone, so before I get started, I just want to say thanks to Larry for allowing me on the channel and for inviting me to do this video. I'm really happy to be doing it, so thanks to Larry for that. So I'm going to be talking about 5 animated films that are either underrated or overrated on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic and sites like that. So let's get straight into it anyway, and the first film I'm going to be talking about is Toy Story 4. So, Toy Story 4 is a film that I was really looking forward to actually. Not at first. At first, I looked at the trailer and I just didn't really care much, but people kept overhyping it, and literally everyone around me was just saying it's like the best thing since sliced bread, pretty much. I really bought into the hype, and I was just thinking that this film is going to be like next level amazing. But unfortunately, it wasn't, and other people seem to really like it. I mean, the people that were hyping it up weren't lying or anything, but this film just didn't do it for me. Honestly, I found most of the film to just be a little bit underwhelming. You know, it was a bit boring at times, and they just kind of did stuff that I didn't really care about. I didn't care too much about Forky 2. I feel like a lot of people are going to be annoyed about that, but I just didn't. And as for the emotional bit at the end, I just felt like they kind of rushed it a bit. Just as I was feeling that I was kind of starting to get involved in that scene, it was over, and yeah, I was just kind of left disappointed. The second film that I feel is overrated is The Fox and the Hound, and my gosh, was this a snooze fest. I mean, this is actually a film that I planned to do as one of my first videos, and I watched it that time and I was thinking that surely it couldn't be that boring. Like, it must have just been because I was tired. I mean, I watched the film for the first time really late at night. So I thought I'll give this film another watch, and yeah, you know, I might like it a bit more. And it literally took me a year to push myself to go and see this movie again. And when I did, it was just as bad, like not even an ounce better. I just found it so boring. Like even the bit where you know that kind of bit that everyone says is the emotional bit in it. I don't want to spoil it. I just didn't care. I just didn't really care for the characters enough to really feel anything during that scene. And then everything that happened afterwards and all of that, it just felt boring. Like there's no better way to explain it. I mean, at one point I literally had my head on the table just hoping that it would be over. It's that kind of film. I mean, I'm so happy that other people like it and that they rated it well, but it just didn't work with me at all. If I didn't see this film ever again in my life, I would be very happy. And now getting on to the underappreciated films, the next film is a film that actually really surprised me. I kind of just thought of it and I thought I'd search it up and, you know, I'd agree with the score. I thought this is a film that everyone likes, but it seems like they don't, and that's The Land Before Time. So I mean, it doesn't have a terrible score, but for this film, I still think they're way too low. I thought that this was a really, really good film. It's handled stuff like grief really well. It didn't overstay its welcome. It's a relatively short film, but it works within that span of time. And all the characters are great too. For me, it's just a great film. Like a film that I'm pretty sure I gave 5 out of 5 to it. I really enjoyed that film, and I don't know, I just kind of assumed everyone else did too. I mean, they may be a bit of nostalgia in it too because I did watch it as a kid, but then there were other films such as Oliver and Company that I thought I'd love, but didn't hold up even with the nostalgia there, so I don't know. Different people have different tastes, I guess. The next film most certainly isn't a perfect film, but it's still a film that I think deserved more praise than it's gotten, and it's actually one of my favourite films. It's definitely up there, and that's Brother Bear. This film is a very nice looking film with beautiful backgrounds. I think they're some of Disney's best backgrounds that have really nice characters in them. I mean, I do understand that some people find Coda to be a little bit annoying. To be honest, when I first watched this film, I did find him annoying at first, but I grew to like him pretty quickly, to be honest. But I can see that some people may just carry that on to the end of the movie. Yeah, I just really like the themes of love in this film. I like the undertones it's got too about kind of not seeing other people as they really are and just kind of having the enemy because that's how everyone else has had the enemy. I don't think this is a literal film where it's literally telling people to trust bears and stuff. I feel like there's a kind of undertone with you versus the other who you don't understand properly. I also thought that this film was really creative in other aspects too. For example, I liked the aspect ratio changed and how they used that within the story, and the fact that it didn't have a villain. This film actually worked really well without a villain. I mean, there was kind of technically opposition there, but he wasn't really a villain as such. And as for the final underrated film, there's Legend of the Guardians: The Owls of Ga'Hoole. So this is a film that I watched a while ago, not far back in my childhood, but when Love Film was still a thing. I forgot what that turned into, but they basically used to send you DVDs. You'd watch them and then send them back. It's like that long ago. But yeah, it was a film that I remembered liking then, although I had an issue with the slow mo then too. And watching it back now, I like it a lot, and I have an issue with the slow mo. It's basically the same thing. This film is really as good as I remember it being. It's got great action scenes. It's not like dark, but it's a lot darker than other family friendly films go. And honestly, it's just really beautiful. I mean, I'm not usually one for photorealism. I like stylization and stuff, but this film handled it really well. I think that things looked realistic, but also well stylized. The backgrounds were beautiful. I love the color choices that they made in it. And I mean, for a 2010 film, the graphics were actually really impressive. To be honest, and I mean, I'm always going to go back to The Lion King, but I feel like this looked a lot better than The Lion King. And this was back in 2010, and The Lion King was 2019. So just saying, I always have to throw that in. But yeah, this is a film that I just feel is really epic and really could have done with a few more sequels. Because I feel like there's more story to tell there, and there's definitely backstory that could have been told. That was one of the weaker points I feel with the film is there could have been a bit more backstory with the characters, but that all could have been explored in sequels, or prequels. So I am actually quite disappointed that more people didn't like this film and that they didn't want to make any more films of it. It is just really a shame that films like Minions get sequels that aren't even needed. Whereas this film that I feel like has a lot of potential didn't get any sequels. Anyway though, before I start rambling on about Minions, thanks to Larry again for letting me on this video, and yeah, here's Larry's list of 5 underrated or overrated animated films. Bye.
Thank you so much for coming on the channel and discussing some animated films with me. Everyone, make sure that you are heading on over to Moviemation here on YouTube, giving him a subscribe. He definitely deserves it. A lot of fantastic effort, wonderful viewpoints, and a unique perspective on animated films over on his channel. Plus, make sure that you're following him on Twitter as well. I know you're going to love his content, so make sure to check him out and show him some love. All of those links will be in the description down below. Now, as for my picks on the most underrated and overhyped animated films of all time, well, I love animation. I just gravitate toward animated movies. And I have to tell you, it was much easier for me to come up with underscored films than it was overhyped. Most animated films I enjoy to one extent or the other. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off with one of the biggest and most iconic animated studios there is, and I've chosen a Disney film to highlight, one of which I know most of y'all out there won't agree with. So let's get controversial, kicking us off with underrated. I have Pocahontas. Pocahontas currently sits at a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes and 58% on Metacritic, and I just think it's too harsh. In general, I think people are just too harsh when it comes to Pocahontas. Is this a sugarcoating of an actual real life person? Yes, of course. but does it still capture the essence of what that person stood for, as well as what the people that this film represents stood for? Yes, yes, it does. And that's really what was important for me. Plus, Disney was casting ethnically appropriate actors for their animated work when it comes to films such as Pocahontas, with not only Irene Bedard voicing Pocahontas herself as a Native American actress, but most all of the prominent roles within her tribe were also voiced by Native American actors. Plus, I think we get a wonderful performance from Mel Gibson as John Smith, a young Christian Bale as Thomas in here, and Judy Kuhn absolutely kills it, providing the singing voice for Pocahontas. Are you kidding me? Not to mention the animation is absolutely stunning. The songs are so good. Plus, I'm a sucker for an environmental message, and this really delivers it in a fantastic way. I related to Pocahontas, even though I'm not Native. It was really fantastic to see a lead, strong female protagonist of color, voiced by a woman of color, up on the big screen. While it has some shortcomings, including that historical inaccuracies, it still brought a lot of needed representation with a powerful story and, again, that wonderful environmental message in palatable form for kids. I love Pocahontas, and I think y'all are just haters. We're going to keep the controversy rolling here with my first overrated pick, and we're jumping on over to the other animated studio Disney has owned for some time, and I'm going to say Up is overhyped. I know, the gasps, the controversy. How could anyone say Up is not fantastic and a masterpiece? The first 10 minutes are great. I think they actually are really beautifully done, and that story is effectively told. After that, though, oh my gosh, we just introduce annoying character after annoying character. The kid is insufferable. Oh my gosh, this is like the perfect case of little precocious, annoying child protagonist right here and Up. It just kind of got on my nerves all the time. And then I'm an animal person, as I just kind of said with Pocahontas. I am all about the environmental messages, which we do have in Up as well to an extent. I love animals. And this dog, oh my gosh, I was ready to rip that vocal collar off of him. So annoying. And then that bird. The bird is so terrible. I just found all of these side characters insufferable. I was the old man, but I would have jumped on my house, cut the strings, pushed the kid off when I was taking off, and said, "Peace out, I'm out of here." The comedy just doesn't work for me. The story is okay after the fact, and the heart is there, especially the love story we get that is at the heart of our overall mission. But wow, just everything on the periphery, it doesn't work for me, and it really makes me not want to revisit Up. Found a lot of aspects to it kind of insufferable. Next up for my underrated animated films, I'm going with All Dogs Go to Heaven, which currently sits at a 50% on the tomato meter. Well, we're gonna just keep talking about how I'm an animal person, I guess, because that probably has a lot to do with the fact that I love All Dogs Go to Heaven. So in many ways, this film is pretty outlandish, and I guess I can kind of see the reason for that 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. In terms of storytelling, it's a little bit out there. But honestly, I like a lot of Don Bluth's stuff, as I think a lot of people do, and this is no different. I think it has a lot of heart. Charlie, our main dog, is voiced wonderfully by Burt Reynolds, and although his storyline, and I love that his character is really in this gray area when you look at his mission and you look at what he's going for, but the character development that takes place with him is really fantastic. I think the comedic moments in the film work well, but it's really the heart at the center of the movie that sells it, because otherwise it is a little bit crazy. It does have some weird elements to it, certainly, but the heart with Charlie and Anne Marie, the little girl, oh, it kills me. I love it so much, and I love them as a pair. I love the characters and easily become attached. I think the writing, when it comes to character development, is really well done and sells this film. The animation is also really fun. The music on the film and the soundtrack is wonderful, and I just love it. And I can kind of understand some of the problems, but I think it's underrated. So my next film for overhyped is one I've talked about a couple times on this channel, and that is Sausage Party. This one just really frustrates me, if I'm being honest, and I think that's why I always take the chance to talk about how overhyped it is. And I think that, and if I'm being honest, I think that's rooted in the fact I feel it was given a big pass. It was glossed over from real critical analysis due to the fact that it lampoons religion. Some of the religious stuff is the best in the film, particularly the idealism behind leaving the store, thinking you're going to heaven, it being a complete and horrifying lie. That type of commentary was what worked okay, what worked the best in this movie. But all the rest of the commentary is absolute trash. It's low blow jokes at Jews, it's low blow jokes at the LGBTQ community. Be fine. Could also be some sort of commentary, except they went with such obvious, rudimentary, stupid, and ultimately, because they were obvious, rudimentary, and stupid, they were also offensive. Didn't have anything intelligent, really, to say on anything other than somewhat religion. Plus, we have lesbians raping straight foods in the store, and plus, there's this horrible, horrible orgy scene. I mean, it's all just a complete and total mess. It's raunchy for the sake of being raunchy. It's not funny at all, and again, it's not nearly as smart as it set out to be, and in honesty, as smart as it thinks it is. The Sausage Party got a huge pass when in reality, it kind of just fails across the board, if you ask me. And then my final pick for an underrated animated film, I chose Pokemon the first movie. Now I'm going to preface this by saying this is definitely from a skewed vantage point. I'm biased, I understand that, but I still wanted to get on here and give some love to Pokemon the first movie. It currently sits at a 35% on Metacritic and a horrible, horrible 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think that is far, far too harsh. As a lifelong Pokemon fan myself, this movie, to this day, delivers exactly what I want from it. We have all of the characters we know and love, and they're put into this setting that allows for both character moments as well as that Pokemon battle action that you would hope for. The Mewtwo storyline is certainly an interesting one, and one unlike anything else we had really explored in Pokemon up to that point, and one that has been replicated within the Pokemon franchise several times at this point. Obviously, that really touching moment between Pikachu and Ash, and what Ash really represented in this film, was wonderful. Plus, the action-y sequences are all really fantastic. Team Rocket is utilized well here. I think the jokes land at a decent enough pace. The animation delivers what you would have expected out of a Pokemon movie in 1999. It's right in line with the series, and even slightly elevated with some of the elements they introduce. It has action, it has heart, it delivers everything a Pokemon fan wants. It gets the message across to those that are unfamiliar with this franchise. I think a 15% is just really, really harsh on this film, and it's certainly not bad and does not deserve such a rating. That is it. Those are my picks, as well as the picks from Moviemation on the most underrated and overhyped animated films of all time. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Which films would you like to add into the discussion? Let us know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit either one of us up on Twitter. Also, make sure that you are heading on over to Moviemation's YouTube channel and subscribing. He has great content, so make sure to show him the love. And while you're here, go ahead, hit that like button down below and subscribe to this channel so you are always up to date on my latest videos. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!